Hello my lords and ladies, and welcome back to the third tutorial on the traditional Orlennian medieval hovel. And today we will be just focusing on some tidbits and extra exterior decorations that you could put on this building. Without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so here is the house that you have grown to know and love. If you wanted to add decorations to it, I would recommend starting with the roof. Let's go ahead and grab some of the fences and stair variants of the frame of the house, because that is what you would like to edit. If you want to make it Nordic, you could just add these on the edges. That would make the Orlennian home look more Nordic, as if it was built in Norway. And you could also put little nudges in the house here. Nudges is the wrong word, but yeah, forgive me. These nubs, yes, these nubs. Add these little bumps, and it reminds me of the tail of a dragon. This is the same architecture that was behind the construction of the Viking warships, so keep that in mind. I think that looks stunning. But you can use whatever pattern you want. You can even affect the... you can make it a little Gothic by adding these to the sides. We're just making this house a mixture of everything, aren't we? So let's continue this way. Alright, we'll add some Gothic style as well. And there you have it. A Viking Gothic house. Now, if you're unhappy with the overhang, there is another thing you can do to change that. You can add some support beams here. I just figured I'd teach you these tactics in case you were curious on how you could modify this build. You do not have to have all of these modifications. This is just purely for personalization. You could have some, you could ignore others. It is all up to you. But personally, I prefer this building without these beams, but if you are more of an inner city person and you're building it in the city, I could see needing those beams. Alright, so that is it for like the house itself. Now what makes a house great is the landscape around it. So we will begin to build the landscape that is around this house. So we're going to fit with the traditional medieval theme again. So we're going to make a fence. It's going to go along the path here and diverge. It's going to diverge here. We're going to wrap it around and connect it to this tree. How does that sound, my lords and ladies? I hope you like it. Alright, so the first thing you need to do is make the top. I would recommend keeping the top the same wood type that you use as the bottom. And I use spruce, which surprisingly, the wood does not look like the... Okay, never mind. Just ignore what I said. Put dark oak here, like so. And we will connect it with the different wood type here. Just make it go around. Make it go around if you can. And we're just trying to make it look a little charming and natural. So we'll do this like so. Now, the usage of this will vary depending on what you want to put in it. I would recommend just placing a gate here. Just ignore that. That post was never there. Now, if you want to farm, I would recommend just placing farmland and a random assortment of crops, but I'm thinking we should put some animals in here. So let's go ahead and continue to make the fence in the back as well, because the animals will need to be contained. So we'll do that. and that. Now, break all of the grass blocks within the fence space. You don't need to break what's underneath the block because that's not showing. But everything else you need to break. Like such. Forgive me, my finger is like a machine gun when it comes to this. I've built for quite some time. Okay, so for this I would recommend a random assortment of blocks. I'd recommend mud, first of all. Maybe some of the muddy mangrove roots and podzol. All of these blocks seem to come from muddy or wet environments, so let's place them in random assortment. I'd say that's it for the mud. Now we'll do the muddy wood. The podzol, that's podzol. We'll do the muddy wood and then just fill the rest with mud. If you want to, ooh, that is actually a good palette here. If you want to make it so that some places look messier than others, you could use the muddy wood as a medium between the podzol and the mud itself. So you see that creates a nice, smooth, dirty surface. However, I would recommend changing the outer edge of the pin to some more dirty kind of thing. And since we have a road right next to it, we might as well change it to coarse dirt. Coarse dirt is a dirty block, so in older builds I tended to use it more, but in this build we will have an exception. So we will place some pigs here because honestly this is made for pigs. There you go, my sweet little piggies. Have fun. Alright. So if you just want to continue the fence for beauty's sake, you can. I'm certainly going to, so we will have it go this way and end by this tree. Just have it hug the path a little bit. And we will have it distance itself here. Alright, but since the path is different than the since it's different than the edge of the pin, we should probably add a second block within the path to make sure that it's seen differently. Otherwise, it will look like you are overusing something. Let's make this thin because this is a thinner path. I don't see any major roadways nearby that you'd need to connect it to, but if you wish for the road to be larger, that can be your decision. And we will get our natural blocks and do it like such. I think integrating rooted dirt within the path would also be good because it mixes with the palette well. You can't necessarily tell the roots from the distance, but it'll show that it is dried and worn land that people have walked on. So we will go ahead and continue using it to emphasize that's the purpose of the build. Now, we have our path. The best thing to do now is just make it completely natural. So the environment here is beautiful because the trees, the flowers. So the best thing you can do to keep with the environment is to make sure that the yard is not completely flat. Oh, I happen to build this near a rather tight crevice, so that crevice will be, it's not ideal to have those, so I would recommend covering it up, but if you don't want to, that's fine. However, I think I'm probably going to use it. So let's go ahead and make it look wild over here, because this is the woods. you can just simply use bone meal for that. And cut down most of the large grass, and it will go ahead and give you a wild feel. But here, this is the area you're probably going to work with for landscaping. So I would recommend placing an assortment of flowers. Possibly where this tree is, place a foreign tree that is not local, because that will show that you live here, and it's a sign that you care about your landscape. If you're from another country, I would recommend putting that as well. So let's look at the sapling choices. I would not recommend putting large spruce trees here, or simply spruce trees in general, because it doesn't fit the environment unless you're willing to put one here or there. But I think the best tree that you could place down is either the acacia, the jungle, or the cherry blossom sapling. Let us go ahead and place down the cherry blossom sapling and see what it'll create. I like this. And since the draft is blowing all the particles this way, that gives us the perfect opportunity to grab, let's say, an oak. Let's grab oak furniture here, and a nice little bench. If you ever have a sweet girlfriend or have a friend over, you can just sit and watch the natural environment. Let's go ahead and trim that though, because honestly, I love seeing the sunlight and the mountain curves. So that's what I do there. Now when it comes to flowers or shrubbery, let's start with shrubbery. Let's use ferns. Now we'll place it in random assortment, because if you were to put them in a specific shape, it would look incredibly out of place, because that is what palaces do. So let's aim for something natural. Let's go ahead and put some grass here too. I'm just placing it by hand because I want it to be sparse. But if you would like, you could use the bone meal method as well. Alright. So if you're going to place flowers, I would recommend reserving at least one plant for guiding the path. I think I will put lilies of the valley down here, because it just looks nice and it fits. Be sure to not put too much, because less is more in some cases, and you should probably remember that. I think that looks quite nice. Now for path guiding, I'm thinking red tulip. Have red tulips guide your guests to the house. You could integrate it with tulips of similar color. If we were to do that, I would recommend the orange tulip. And do it like that. And see, that gives a nice natural landscape. Alright, now it's all white in there, so before we stop with the gardening, I would recommend putting allium, maybe cornflower. The flowers do not have to be the best flowers, the most beautiful, but definitely add some variation. Cornflower would definitely not be my choice. I'd rather do the blue orchid, but we are not going to overwhelm this yard, because it's just quite simple. I honestly think we already have overwhelmed it, but heck, it looks beautiful. I assume you would agree. So let's add our assortment of flowers here real quick, because this is still a part of the yard. And let's add our shrubbery. Just make sure there is some variation. Now here I might use the bone meal strategy, because this is kind of a mix between, this is kind of, I'll destroy the other flowers it spawns. I'll destroy these tall grass, except maybe here tall grass would be necessary because it is wild. Maybe keep that back there as well. But especially up here in the front, you do not need so much shrubbery. There we go. Doesn't that look nice? And I think that is it. Thank you for watching this video, and this is how you truly make your humble Orlennian abode. Now, my lords and ladies, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and if you have any requests, do let me know. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening, my lords and ladies. Enjoy your build. Farewell.